Hey guys, welcome back to Marsha Speaks. This is Marsha, and we're going to be doing a review of Charmed Season 2, Episode 16. In this episode, I would like to note that I'm glad that the ending, or that it felt like they had a purpose this episode. It didn't feel like we were wandering aimlessly. It felt like they knew what their conclusion was, and we're taking steps to that conclusion compared to some of the other episodes in the past. That is what I really liked. The other thing I really appreciated was that they kept the love triangles to a minimum. Thank you. Now let's get to the episode. The review is going to be broken down between two storylines, which is going to be Harry with Jordan and the faction, and then Abigail and the Charmed Ones. The little details we're going to skip. So we find out that Macy and Harry, in the beginning of the episode, found a medical facility that the faction, which is the mad scientist group, is using to find the dead bodies that they're putting magic into. And that is in Idaho. And of course, Harry decides to go by himself because Macy has a date with Jordan. Oh, I'm sorry, with Julian, not Jordan. And when Harry goes and investigates, he sees that the mad scientist group, the faction, is upping the security and really has like 15,000 protocols to ensure that no magical being gets in, right? So the only way that he sees that you can bypass that is if you're one of the dead body transporters, and because they go around the back and just drop off the dead body. So he sees that this is the only way to get in. To do that, he enlists the aid of Jordan, and Jordan agrees, of course, because he loves Maggie. And he's trying to tip the scales back in favor and break the curse for his family. In this one, I just thought that they really had like a nice bro banter going on. Talking about like, how do you know if you're too little too late, or how do you know if you move too early, like, because Jordan was talking about how his aunt said that everything's about timing. If you move too early or too late, you ruin the soup. And Harry was like, how do you know if you're too late? And that's really the question, right? Like, how do you know if you're too late to make your move? And for him, he's wondering if he's too late. But moving forward from that, they use a spell, which they reference to Romeo and Juliet, to make Jordan dead for 30 minutes. In this episode, I really thought that Harry was very, not callous, but he seemed to have forgotten that Jordan is a human that doesn't have powers and can't protect himself necessarily in certain cases, because he just let him go. Because once they got inside the building, the person that's processing the dead bodies, he calls them meatloaves, but he processed the dead bodies, asking for paperwork, and they take Jordan to a different area, and Harry doesn't have sights on him. So I was like, this is not safe. But anyways, we find out that, of course, Jordan can hold his own. Harry, from that point, goes around the facility, changing from one costume to the next to see what he can find out about this, faction. From there, Harry finds, there's one room with, a clear blue tubes, and people look inside them, so I'm assuming that that's where they found the magical creatures like they did before. And it was really creepy because there was a lot of tubes. So I'm wondering, are the tubes the magic creatures that they're siphoning the magic from, or are those tubes the creatures they're creating, So if it's the latter, that's really scary because they had a lot of tubes. But moving forward, while he's trying to, I guess, get back to Jordan, because again, Jordan is dead in this point and doesn't have any way to protect him, and the 30 minutes that he would be, proclaimed dead is almost up. The girl from the faction, the redheaded girl that we saw in the previous episodes, mistakes Harry for Jimmy. Good for Harry, because he probably would have been dead otherwise. But yes, so of course, Harry, noticing that, okay, you're mistaking me for the Dark Lighter, takes in Jimmy's persona. We've come to find out later that redheaded girl and Jimmy had a thing going on. Like, they were, I want to say a couple, because we know Jimmy has a thing for Macy. So I'm wondering if it was like, oh, one night stands type of thing, or if the leader kind of gave Jimmy away as a sex object. Like, I don't know. But that really kind of creeped me out a little. But the problem is that at the end of the day, we see Harry in the limo with the redheaded girl going to the compound, and nobody else knows because Harry went to, research by himself, and the only person that knows is Jordan. Now we flash over to Jordan, and Jordan is inside this like limbo of like life and death, and he meets one of the women that his ancestors killed and tortured probably, and he like apologized saying that he's trying to tip the scale, and he goes back and tells her that this demon witch, and names Abigail's full name, says that she knows the direct descendants of the witches that his ancestors tortured and killed, and that if he helped them, they would be able to like tip the scales back. And the witch warns him, I can't remember the whole like rhyme, but the witch warns him that apparently there's a power 3 like that are dark, and there's power 3 that are light, and to be aware of demons bearing gifts. And she wants him to warn the charmed ones. And I'm like, sisters 3, or talking about trio 3. Maybe I was wrong, but I was like, that seems ominous. Like, is there a dark version of the power 3? That would be kind of interesting to see. And are they witches? So I really want to see that like warning culminate. And when he wakes up, he notices that he wakes up and he knows that he's in the dead body bag, and he finally gets out. He sees Harry in the hallway surrounded by the red-headed girl, but Harry tells him don't stop this. So he goes on. But later on in the thing, he finds out, like, he's running and sees that Harry went into the limo, and he needs to figure out how to get back to Seattle. They're in Idaho. How is this human gonna get? Like, he's gonna make it. Like, he's gonna finally, get there. But I'm just like, that was a little weird. Not weird. Like, that was like, oh my gosh, this poor man. He's like stuck in the middle of nowhere, trying to figure out how to get back home. I hope he has a card on him. I hope he got a phone. Like, I hope he knows the chime was number. Like, what? Okay. That's Harry and Jordan's storyline. Now we jump to the Charmed Ones and Abigail. The Charmed Ones get a notification on the witch board that a witch is in distress, and they go there and save her. By saving her, they killed the bee-like creatures that were trying to bee or wasp-like creatures that were trying to attack the witch, and the main leader of that group they also killed. And by killing him, it created a power vacuum, or it destabilized the demon world, because that specific person, his name was Alfie, and he was the last male heir of his demon lineage. And now they're, of course, wanting the Charmed One's head. And this is my problem with the Charmed Ones sometimes. They're a little too nonchalant when it comes to Abigail's issues, because yes, Abigail is your frenemy, but at the end of the day, Abigail kind of acts more like a friend than an enemy, since Abigail consistently helps them. Yes, sometimes it's the benefit of her, but most of the time, not most of the time, all the time, she helps the Charmed Ones. So when it's a problem that y'all created and it's affecting her, I feel like they should have been a little bit more sensitive of the topic at hand. They were just being really nonchalant about it, and that was getting irritating. But anywho, they created a power vacuum. I keep saying power vacuum because it's literally on what happens, but they destabilized the demon world. And Godric, as we remember, which was Abigail's right-hand man, Godric said that we just need to kill the Charmed Ones, and that will still stabilize the demon world. But of course, Abby doesn't want to do that. So instead, she just decides, hey, why don't we just switch out this last male heir for a female, because one of her issues was that it was a patriarchal society, and she wanted to make it more matriarchal. So she goes and finds a woman to take in that spot that Alfie was going to have. We find out that woman, I forgot her name, I think it was Lee or something like that, she is a top like influencer, and it makes sense because let's come on. That was a good link. But anywho, when they get there, the woman doesn't automatically, once she finds that these are the charmed ones, doesn't want anything to do with them. But she says that she, being Abigail, tells her, "We can make you the leader. It'll be a female on the line, and if anybody has a problem with it, they'll have to get through me." And of course, she agrees, and she says that if you can give me this, I'm going to, get you, have you back. Cut to, we see Godric getting mad and in his feelings, his panties up in the water, because he just seemed to just realize that Abigail is not the puppet that he thought she would be. He's upset that his claws are not fully into Abigail as much as he would like it to be, and by doing that, he decides to do the I don't want to say bitch made, but bitch made move of getting a double crossing Abigail, and he's successful. He opens the door for Parker to get out, and while Abigail finally made the negotiation successful, she goes and opens and like about to leave. There's Godric with like 15,000 dudes, and Parker's behind him. And once the woman sees that Parker's alive, that means you're not really the overlord in their eyes. So she, takes back her saying that she was gonna help her, and Godric takes these cuffs and starts to cuff Abigail. But now, not only does he starts to cuff Abigail. He cuffs Abigail and attempts to cuff the charmed ones. Parker double crosses him and at least saves Macy and Maggie, leaving Mel behind. When they get there, they get stuck in a prison, the dungeon that she created or designed, and I just thought that was hilarious. But anywho, of course, Abigail, being the person that she is able to get out of the situation, come back and help Mel, and they are trying to get out of the fortress, right? However, it doesn't really work because they still have the cuffs on them, and they get caught again. They get put in a pillar of fire, or the little cross thing that the witches used to be burned with, and they, meaning Godric, is trying to kill Abigail because she's the old overlord, and a charmed one to establish his reign as an overlord. And I just thought that, was this not his plan all along? Like, yes, he wanted to be the behind-the-scenes dude because the behind-the-scenes dude has more power, but really he realized that in this demon world, the person that has the most power is the person sitting on the throne, so he decided not to be the advisor and just decided to become the overlord himself. I found that hilarious. Like, we didn't see that coming. But anywho, the Parker talks to Macy and Maggie and tells them, like, hey, I'll help you guys out, blah, blah. And they figure out a way to release Mel and Abigail. When they get there, Macy's powers have evolved like Mel's powers, and she was able to hold off the swarm of demons when the demons started to see that, oh my god, the charm one's here, and went on attack mode. She was able to hold them all off, which I thought was really cool, but not for long, but she was able to hold them off. Of course, they escaped, and I just thought that this whole episode, like, yes, it was like fast-paced-ish, and we were able again to get to a point that seems like it's going somewhere. But anywho, they get back to headquarters, and Abigail now knows more than ever that the demon world is a shit show, and they were going to, like, it's a hot mess really, and she's screwed. Like, she knows she has a target on her back. She knows that 9 times out of 10 she probably won't live to see the week. And Mel kind of reminds her, like, hey, you're not only a demon, you're also a witch. So you have both sides of yourself. You can always come back to the witch side. And I think if they did, like, if she did, the Chandler would be more than willing to bring her into the fold. But Abigail says no, but if anything, she's just going to embrace the fact that she's bi-magical. And I just thought that was really cute. Like, I don't know, because they're right, like, after she became the Overlord, she stopped using her witch powers for the most part. So instead of just starting to fully embrace her demon side, but she's part of two worlds, so she should embrace both sides. But we're gonna leave that alone. Then on Maggie's side, Maggie talks to Parker because Parker had Abigail strip him of his demon powers, and he was saying that it's really like sick that the father had this dagger the whole time and could have stripped him of his demon powers, but him being the horrible man that he was, didn't even do it. Even though he had the capacity to do it all along. Like all of season one, his dagger was in his father's hand the whole time, and he didn't even think to, like he knew, and just didn't help his son. But from there, Parker has the idea that once he becomes human, him and Maggie's relationship would have a shot. But Maggie decides, no, like I've been through too much with you. It doesn't change the fact that what you did in the past is what you did in the past. I cannot be with you. And I really appreciated this. Like, it finally closed the door on the love triangle between Jordan, Parker, and Maggie. And I don't know if Jordan and Maggie will be together, but we know that the Parker part of the equation is gone. So it's no longer a love triangle. And I appreciate this. Because if we go back to the original, which is the original Charmed, the relationship, which was Maggie and Parker, resembled Phoebe and Cole's. And it took seasons for Phoebe to get over Cole and realize, like, this is not going to work. Like, I'm trying to hold on to a toxic relationship that's not going to work. Like, they got all the way to the point of marriage. Like, but I like the fact with them, with Maggie and Cole, that Maggie's like, no, I deserve better, and I'm not going to put myself through this, and just cut it earlier than Phoebe did. I appreciate that. But yeah, from there, you know, Maggie moves on and leaves Parker alone, and the Charmed ones end the episode, you know, doing their little sisterhood talk, and Maggie, Mel, and Macy are talking about Macy's relationship with Julian, and Macy saying that Julian's perfect, but every single time, like I said before, they get closer to a relationship, she starts feeling doubts. And that's when Mel brings up the fact that if you are having these feelings for somebody who you claim to be a perfect guy, then he's probably not the perfect guy for you. And then they leave it at that. But this isn't my problem with the Charmed ones again. They, in the end, they notice that Macy brings up the fact that Harry's not picking up his phone. Like, Harry went to go research the faction, and Mel and them are like, oh no, it's just Harry, he'll be fine, like he's always okay, not thinking like, yo, something could be wrong. Like, when Macy didn't pick up her phone, they automatically went and started looking for, like, okay, we need to figure out what's going on. But when it's the other way around and something's going on with Harry, they're like, oh no, he's fine, like they just assume that he's okay. And I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? No, he's not okay. He needs help. So does Jordan. Of course, y'all don't know that Jordan is also, like, in a bind. But, like, it was just weird that they made it seem like, oh, yeah, he's going to be fine. We don't need to worry about him. But y'all don't have that many allies. Y'all don't have that many friends. All the friends you have for, y'all should be able to keep them accountable. Like, keep account of them. And one of them is down, and y'all just like, oh, he's going to be all right. What's going on? But, yeah, I don't get them. This was really my conclusion for this episode. It was a great episode, way better than the last couple of ones that we've been seeing. So I don't totally feel like an episode has been sucked out of my life. I did not watch the promo for next week's episodes, so I'm really excited to see what that's gonna be like. Of course, I think they're gonna finally realize that something is wrong with Harry, and Jordan is gonna come back somehow. We're gonna get a little bit more in depth of what's gonna happen with Abigail now that, you know, the demons are after her, and the warning that the old witch told Jordan to tell the Charmed one is gonna start culminating. So that is my prediction for next week's episode, and I'm just super excited, y'all. I didn't have that much negative feelings about this episode, and I appreciate that so much because I love this series. But anywho, that is my review. This is Marsha. Thank you for stopping by Marsha Speaks, and have a great day, guys.